What's up, baseball world? Welcome along to another edition of Jay's Talk with Jay. God, they like to make things hard. Played some good baseball this week. Series win against Baltimore, series win against Tampa Bay, and they managed to blow today. They did everything possible to literally give that game away. As always, it looks like I am joined by my sidekick, Sheldon from Blue Jay Center. Sheldon, how you doing?
Not too bad. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm all right. I'm suffering. Like it's been a funny week. I'm suffering, but we said we would do this today, and the show must go on. I don't know where to start with today. I was so angry by the time it got to the ninth inning. I was so angry, just like little things like fielding positions in the outfield. Now we haven't complained too much about the outfield. We had Lourdes doing his maze running to the ball. But apart from that, the outfield's been pretty decent, and I think that they've been more than capable of getting us through games, no problem. But the balls over Teoscar's head, like he looked like he was going for them, and then it was like they went over his head, and then he kind of strolled up to the ball and an easy throw in, just like. And I'm not digging him out because he's been really good since he's come back from the COVID list.
Mm-hmm.
But that kind of started to get my annoyance up. And then Bo, what was Bo thinking? He was never, ever making that play.
I think with Teoscar, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he didn't see it. Maybe the ball got into the sun. Probably couldn't see it. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with something, but it didn't look good. But again, it's errors do happen from time to time. I think this game, because we were so excited that we had the first two against Tampa, that we were so close to sweeping them, and the game was close. And then Teoscar's defensive lapses, and then Bo's error that allowed Diaz to go from literally possibly a single or an out all the way to third base. It just kind of all came at the wrong time.
It's mindsets though, isn't it? Let's face it. When you have the play that goes over Teoscar's head and stuff, and that's fine. I can take going into the ninth down 2-1. That's okay because that's salvageable. What I found was the error is what led to the extra runs. And that's the mindset. If the guy's on first and he's just on first, it's like, okay, we're looking. Although the commentator did make me laugh because he said a ground ball and we get out of it. It's like, no, we don't, because there's no outs. But that's another story. They're allowed to make mistakes because they can. But but that's the mindset. And here's my biggest problem. Why the hell is Dolis coming out in the ninth inning when he's literally just come back? Like, surely he's got to be eased in there somewhere. Sixth inning, seventh inning, Tuesday when we're playing Baltimore. Why does it have to be today in the ninth inning where like it's tight, it's close, we're still in it? We had Bo, Vladdy, Springer to come up in the ninth. Like I haven't lost it with Charlie much this season. But yesterday we were winning 6-1.
And Romano came in.
And Romano comes in. Like, really? I'm just confused. I'm confused what happened at the end of yesterday's game. Romano comes in, gives up a few runs. And then we needed him. We needed him today.
Yeah.
Like, we needed him today. And he wasn't used. What was he waiting for? The save situation? Hello.
It
wasn't one because we weren't winning. So I don't know, man. You tell me, because I'm confused. I don't know what happened today.
I'm just as baffled as everyone else probably when they decided to go with Dolis. He just came back from the IL. I would have put him against the Baltimore team on Tuesday, and
Damn, he could have started. He could have started on Tuesday. I wouldn't have cared. Like, whatever. Just get him out there. Like, let him pitch. We can deal with Baltimore. We've seen what they're like.
Mm-hmm.
We spoke about this on Thursday. They're rubbish. Like he's at their level. Like, it's not going to make a huge difference if he plays. I'm hoping it's a game where we've scored 8, 9, 10 runs. Throw him in there, get him back, ease him back in slowly. But this nonsense of throwing him in, and it's not the first. And this is why I'm annoyed, because it's not the first time Charlie's done this with a pitcher that's just come back, thrown him in a really high leverage situation, and it's backfired. It's like he hasn't learned anything from the mistakes he's made already this season.
Funny, he uses Simber 3 days, almost like 3 days in a row, I believe. But you don't want to use Romano 2 days in a row? Doesn't make any sense. Not in my eyes, anyway. I would have used Romano. Dolisa would have kept for Baltimore, let him get his legs back, especially coming off the IL. If you really had to use someone else, well, you had a whole bunch. You had a bevy of arms in there that you could have used, other than Dolis. But it's one of those. Again, it's one of those Charlie moves where is he going by a playbook or what's he going on? You can't go on blind faith, because the eye test alone should have told you that Dolis.
Blind faith. He's got faith in Dolis. That makes it even worse. If that's what he's doing, then he needs to go. Like, and I haven't said that, but like, bearing in mind, Dolis before he went on the IL was not great.
Yeah, but he was better than Chatwood. Yes. And how many times did we see Charlie throw Chatwood out there?
I told you, Chatwood's one of his guys. That I think that's all it can be. But if we're at a point now where Dolis is his guy as well, then we've got a problem. But I don't want to concentrate too much on the negative side of it, because even though today was really annoying, like it's been a really good week, and we've just taken a series from Tampa Bay, and we don't say that very often.
Nope.
And we smashed them the first 2 games.
Tampa is vulnerable. No Tyler Glasnow. Their bullpen's in disarray right now. They've got injuries. They are literally there for the taking. They got another 3 games. After Baltimore, Toronto goes to Tampa, and they play in Tropicana Field or Park or whatever name it's under. It's a juice box. That's what Scott likes to call it. They got to do the exact same thing. 2 out of 3. If they can get a sweep, that's great. 2 out of 3 though. They got to take 2 out of 3. Baltimore, 2 out of 3 sweep. I said these 9 games, they got to win 6 of them. Minimum 6 of them.
Well, I said 7-3, 7-3. I'm still sticking with that, and we can do. In fact, we'll be better than that if we take, obviously, going into the All-Star break. What I'm slightly nervous about is I have no problem going to Baltimore, because it's in Baltimore, right? It's an away stand. I've lost it. Going to Baltimore doesn't bother me. Going to the juice box, as you say, does bother me, because we know how bad we are there. But if there's ever a time to capitalize on what the other teams are doing, look, with a form team at the moment in our division, probably on par with Boston, but we are playing good baseball. Granted, it's been against not great teams, but we can't say that with Tampa Bay, because they're still above us in the standings. So I think now is the time for us to make the move, gain some places on Tampa Bay, go into the All-Star break. We could be level with them depending on what happens this week coming.
Let's put it this way. Tampa's got, if I'm not mistaken, I'm actually checking Tampa's schedule at the moment. And after Toronto, they got Cleveland. So that's going to be a tough series for Tampa. So you can gain ground on Tampa. That's the first team you should be focusing on.
Yeah, forget Boston. Forget Boston.
Yeah, forget Boston at the moment. And New York is behind you, so you don't have to worry about the Yankees trying to catch you. It's Tampa that you got to worry about. Forget the wild card. Play your best to win the division. So catch Tampa. They're going to be in a dogfight with Cleveland. You're going to have the Orioles. If you can sweep the Orioles, and even if Tampa wins 2 out of 3, still gain a game on Tampa heading into the Tampa series just before the All-Star break. And then if you can take 2 out of 3 or sweep, you're literally
level
caught up or past Tampa.
Yeah.
So their mindset, this is where someone like George Springer, Marcus Semien, Hyun-Jin Ryu can look at the team and say, okay, these next 6 games are very important for us heading into the All-Star break. Do we want to be 3 games back at Tampa, or do we want to be, tied or ahead of them by the time we head into the All-Star break? That's what they got to look at. So, and then that's what they got to do. These next 6 games, 4 out of 6, 5 out of 6, they'll be in a very, very good position.
What are we thinking of the man from the Lion King, Simba? He looks okay. I think he's done the job.
So far, so good. I like Manoa. Is that who you're talking about?
No, Simba.
Simba. Simba.
Spelt Simba. This is our new bullpen arm.
Oh, Simba.
It's just spelt slightly different.
You know what? When we got him, I was surprised that we got him. I didn't know that he was actually a trade target. There was no rumors anywhere of him being a trade target unless I missed it. I like the fact that he throws from a different arm angle.
Yeah, they actually said that today on the broadcast, and I think they must have obviously watched my podcast from the other day. You said it then, and that seems to be a key thing. It's definitely different velocity, different angle.
So now they got some guys in there who have. I mean, Tim Meza has a very funky delivery. You have Adam Simber, who throws submarine sidearm. And then you have like an entire right-handed bullpen that can throw 95, 97. So if you can have Simber following a right-handed thrower, or say Dolis. Say Dolis goes in the 6th, then you have Simber going 7, and then you could throw whoever you want after him. You've just changed the eye level and the focus, the release point on the hitter by having someone throw a different arm angle. And that's what Tampa has done. If you take a look at Tampa and their bullpen arms, they're like literally right around the clock. They all have different arm angles. And it was a good move. It was one of those under the radar moves that Atkins has done before. So I'm kind of crossing my fingers that Darren O'Day's another arm that they can get, who's again throwing from a different arm angle. If the Yankees are continuing to falter, they got, I think, Cole got blasted today runs. So Darren O'Day would be someone I would look at if I can kind of pinch him away from the Yankees. That's another bullpen arm. Michael Givens, I like him. So we've been critical at times of the management, especially the front office, but that was a really good move. Props to him. I like Simber. I like him. I may have to go get his jersey.
Touching on another pitcher, Alek Manoa the other day, outstanding. And I have to say that now because his mum started following me on Instagram the other day. So hi, Mummy Manoa. But I was really impressed, and I know that he's pitched well. He had obviously one game where he wasn't great, but I think the 2 really good starts, obviously his first start and then what we saw the other day, I think that if he gets it together, he's going to pitch us some innings. Where they pull the plug, I'm still not sure.
That's a good point. On the after show I did today with the Blue Jay Center, one of the questions from a gentleman by Scott McMulkin. He said
he had a lot of questions.
Yeah, like he was good. He's really good. And you know what? His questions were intelligent. They're fan questions, but they were intelligent fan questions. And that goes for everybody on that chat. Everybody, most 99% of them were asking really, really intelligent questions. He had said, we got to keep an eye on Manoah's innings. That's something that we've seen the Jays do historically. Aaron Sanchez was the big name, and that was the huge thing in 2016
when he moved to the bullpen.
Yeah. So they can still get another starter. And the possibility is you don't have to take Manoah out of the starting rotation.
You just play him every 6 or whatever, every 7 games.
Let him go. You have a 6-man rotation. Let's be honest here. Charlie likes to have a big bullpen. He likes to have like 10 arms out there, or 8 arms, or 9 arms out there. Well, Charlie has 8 bullpen arms and 6 starters. He can manage that as long as the bullpen arms are quality arms.
Because we don't have anything on the bench to do, so we might as well just drop a bench player and just roll with
it. Espinal pretty much impresses me that you can put him anywhere, and I think he'll play it. I wouldn't be surprised if that kid can play the outfield and play it decently. Kevin Biggio, you can move all over the place. So Kevin Biggio is your Swiss Army knife. You can put him anywhere, and he'll do a decent job. So you have that luxury of having a player of Kevin Biggio's quality to do these things and be a utility player in that regard, and be a very good utility player.
I think the fact that our outfield is so interchangeable as well really helps. Mm-hmm. Like take Lourdes out of the equation, but literally George, Randall, and Teo could play all 3 of them positions, and that really helps us because you've got Gurriel there as well. Yep. We have so many permutations they can use. You're right. Like Kevin probably could play first, second, third, shortstop if necessary. But I think have to get to that point.
Yeah, we would have to get to that. He would be like probably 4th on that depth chart when it comes to shortstop, because you always move Simeon over, and you also have Espinal. Kevin can play first. We've seen that from time to time. Lourdes can play first from time to time if you want to give Vladdy a day off. So you have those players. Teoscar can play left. Gritcha can play all 3 positions. Springer can play center and right. So you have players who are interchangeable with different positions. So, and look, in worst case scenario, if you really have to put Gurriel at third for an inning to survive, or Vladdy to survive an inning or 2 at third base, you could probably get away with that as well.
I'm going to put this out there. I reckon that if Vladdy was to play third, we would see a huge difference to what we saw 2 years ago
in terms of his
defense.
Oh, you think? I think he would be a better third baseman this year.
Yeah.
I was hoping that he would be a third baseman and Rowdy would be the first baseman. Vladdy played heavy at third. He was a chunky Vladdy.
Not only that, he looks more agile now as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And it wouldn't surprise me. It probably won't happen. It's not like unless there's a trade out there to get some Gold Glove first baseman. But I would put money on the fact that he could play third and be more than a C+ third baseman.
Oh, I think so. I think he can survive with Vladdy at third, especially this version of Vladdy, the body type that he has now. If he decides to gain 40 pounds in the offseason, then we're going back to square one, but I don't think he will. I think he's seen the success. He's seen what the hard work was in the offseason, and also his maturity too. Like he's got this is his 3rd year, so now he's a little more comfortable in the majors. And, I think he hasn't ruled out playing third base. So we'll see what happens. But, I think they could go for another starter and another bullpen arm. Sonny Gray and Amir Garrett could be the two arms of Cincinnati.
Yeah, there was talk about Sonny Gray before he went, wasn't there? That we were in for him a couple of years back.
Yeah, but my only fear about Sonny Gray is when he pitched in New York. Now, granted, pitching in New York is different than pitching in Toronto, but he was so, and that's against the American League East teams. So there's that risk of if he comes to an American League East team, whether it be Toronto or Boston or even New York, if they think they want to have a reunion with him, how will he fare in the American League East?
Would we try and go? I was thinking about this the other day, and it's a little bit left field, but would we go for someone like Happ? Try and
J.A. Happ?
Yeah.
I don't know. It wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that you can get it.
It's not a bad idea, though, right? Like he knows the organization, he knows the ballpark. Like obviously, if we do, I want to touch on that next as well. By the way, it was just something I was thinking. Like maybe, like he's someone that's reliable. He's done well. He's done well for us in the past. He knows the division. Just
how many lefty starters do you want in your starting rotation? That would be the fourth.
But that's the only issue, though, isn't it?
Yeah, because you're going to give teams an opportunity to see how many lefties. Like chances are, you may get in a 4-game series. If you go half and you take out Strickland, or you decide to, let's say if they go with the extreme by taking Manoah out to protect his innings, then you got 4 lefties in there, and there's a pretty good chance that second lefty, whether it be Max, Ryu, whoever it might be, may not pitch as well. Not that they're poor pitching. It's just that the offense of the other team is seeing another lefty, and they're getting used to it. So, is Happ out of the question? No, Happ could probably be a long reliever.
The only reason I'm asking is because obviously it would have been maybe a cheaper option where maybe because we've been so inconsistent, the front office are probably every day they're flicking a coin. Shall we pull the trigger? Shan't we pull the trigger? Because they don't know. And I just thought maybe like cheaper options that maybe don't.
If you stay with Minnesota, Kenta Maeda might be an arm. I'm not sure. I know he got shelled the other day, I think, and he's got like a 5-something ERA.
But who isn't, apart from DeGrom? Who isn't?
Pretty much everybody's
yeah. So,
but he would be a nice arm to have. Like he would be, if you put him in between Max and Ray, and you put Maeda in between them, and then you follow that with Manoah as your 6th starter. If you want to make sure you Alek Manoah's innings. There's nothing wrong with that. He would be a perfect arm between 2 power left-handed arms. Mats and Ray throw over 90, 95. And Maeda probably doesn't touch 92 at time.
I was reading before we came on, there are rumors, and I say they are rumors, about the Jays coming back to Toronto. Like what's your take and how likely is I saw 2 separate things posted in the space of 10 minutes, literally in the last couple of hours.
I'll say this: the Rogers Center, a very close friend of mine was in the Rogers Center. They have the turf down. They have the infield dirt down. It looks like they're getting prepared for the Jays to return. Now, that doesn't mean they are coming back. They've got everything. It looks like they're prepared for the Jays. They look like they were prepared to have a game. And so it's looking better. It's just a matter of when the federal government and by extension, the provincial government and the municipal government decide to all get their heads screwed on straight and say, okay, let's do this.
I nearly said report, but the rumor that said today is 1st of August, which puts us about 4 weeks away. possible?
The numbers are going down here, so it is possible. I don't want to say yes to it yet until they actually make until there's maybe within 2 weeks, maybe by July 15th or July 16th. If there's something that comes out that looks like it's going to happen, then yeah. But
so my question to you is if they do come back, is it with or without fans?
I think they'll start small. They may go with maybe 25% fans, or they may actually say, okay, if you're fully vaccinated, you're allowed to come in. And there's quite a few people who are fully vaccinated in Toronto. I don't know what the percentage is. I'm due to get my second vaccine in the first week of August, so I'll be fully vaccinated in August. And there are people who've gotten their both shots. Whether they're healthy or not is a different story.
Okay, yeah. So that's good, because what I'm thinking is that you're going to be my roving reporter at the game. We can actually do this live from Rogers Centre.
Sure, that's not a problem. I could be in the cheap seats and just talk and do everything I need to do. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I have Zoom on my cell phone, so that's good.
I'm thinking live via YouTube. Sheldon's in the crowd with his glove and his foam finger.
No, I've never had a foam finger. I can honestly tell you.
One somewhere. Where is it? I see it somewhere, but I have got one.
I can honestly tell you the first thing I get when I'm at the game is a
hot dog.
No, not the hot dog. Is the manual, the little playbook that they have of that particular series. That's the first thing I always go for. It's like $5 or $10, and then it depends on who I'm with. If I'm on a date, then obviously the food's coming. If I'm not on a date and I'm by myself, which I kind of prefer at times, then it's a little bit different. Or if I'm just hanging out with friends, it's just depending on the atmosphere. If I'm driving, no, I won't drink. If somebody else is driving, I may throw a couple back. It's super expensive.
Yeah, no. When I came, whenever it was, 18, 19, 19. When I was 19, I took my daughter. My cousins came with us as well, but they were sitting. We had 2 seats, and they were sitting a bit further down. But like we went, and my daughter eats, like, she's 10, and she literally eats. It was like, daddy hot dog, daddy drink, daddy ice cream. Like it wiped me out. And I was DJing that night as well. I was DJing in Toronto that night.
Oh.
And so we had to literally go to Toronto. She wiped me out, take her back to Oakville, literally get ready, get my gear ready, and then back into town. Like that was a day. Yeah. So basically she spent the amount of money that I made on food and drink, which is, but it was worth it. But it was definitely worth it. But yeah, it's expensive, but I love going to Rogers Centre.
The last time I went to the game, I think it was 2019. They were playing Houston. And yeah, it was 2019 because Vladdy was the team. I got a video of Vladdy hitting a home run. It was either Houston or Baltimore. And I went with a friend of mine, and she bought like this kind of small hot dog for like, I don't know how much money she spent for it. And
it's like $6 or something. It's crazy. Yeah.
And then I saw that they had this really long hot dog, and I can't remember how much I paid for it. It's probably like $15 or something. And I didn't want to share with her. So, they have the TV screens on the concourse. So I was actually watching part of the game while I was eating a hot dog. And she's coming out looking for me, and I'm hiding behind like everybody because, I did not want to. I honestly didn't want to share. I was hungry.
No. Joey doesn't share food.
Nope.
Oh. So you think that it's a possibility, but I guess we have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, things can change especially with the provincial government, they have a tendency to kind of flip the switch every once in a while on certain things. But from what I saw from the video that my friend sent me, it looks like they're prepared to actually have baseball.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. All-Star game. First of all, I don't know why I thought the All-Star game was a Sunday. But
okay, so today's, if I'm not mistaken, today they actually announced the full rosters.
Yeah, but I thought the game was a Sunday, but it's not. It's a Tuesday, isn't it?
It's a Tuesday. From what I can remember, it's always been on a Tuesday.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought that.
I think what they're trying to do now is trying to get it to be almost like a week-long festival and trying to promote it and really promote everything out of the All-Star game. And a couple of days ago, they had a television show announcing who's the All-Star starters, which was nice. A lot of people usually wait till the day of, a couple of days before. No, it was nice. They announced it. They had like a little TV show on it, and I think tonight they're going to announce the rest of the roster. So
that's
hopefully,
right. Yeah, tonight at 7, 9,
7 or something like that. 8 o'clock. I think.
Yeah,
I heard it was 8, but Bo, I think, will make the team.
Not after today's performance.
Carlos Correa will make the team as well. I can't see them leaving Bull off. Carlos Correa's got some good numbers. He's going to make the team. The pitching of the Jays will be interesting because I've been saying Robbie Ray for the longest time is a possible all-star selection. And at one time we were all thinking Hyun-Jin Ryu was going to be a shoe-in. And he's kind of taken a couple steps back. And I think Robbie Ray's consistency may be enough to get him on there. I know someone on the after show today mentioned Jordan Romano, and that's a good selection as well. He's been very good out of the bullpen. He could be a choice. But
are we running the risk of having too many players, and isn't that what's going to hinder some of these guys possibly being in it?
I think what you kind of run into with the All-Star game and the festivities and all those other things was usually in the second half, some of these guys might burn out or get tired, and may have something to do with the All-Star game, especially with, they're participating in the home run derby, so their swing looks a little different. It can happen from time to time, but I think Vladdy made the right choice. I'm not going into the home run derby. They
missed a trick this year. Sorry to cut you off, but the MLB missed a trick this year. Imagine if they switched things up and they had done a Legends and their Sons home run derby.
Oh,
think about it. But think about it. I'm not just saying the Jays, but there are other people out there that have fathers who are up there. They could have really gone out this year if they wanted to really make a spectacle. They could imagine that you've got Vladdy and Vladdy.
Yeah. Versus Dante and Bo versus Craig and Kevin.
Yeah, Craig and Kevin.
Fernando and Fernando.
Yeah.
And I think people don't recognize that Fernando Tatis for a couple of years was a very, very deadly hitter. And you kind of see a lot of that in his son. So you could be onto something, man.
I was thinking about this the other day, and I was just like, man, they've missed a trick here. How to get some of these Hall of Famers and some of these guys that are second or third generation even. Get these guys in there, and you make a big thing. Not only are you appealing to the older generation, you're also teaching the kids about the history of some of these guys. And I just thought, man, they've really missed a trick here, especially with guys like Bo, Fernando Tatis, Vladdy doing so well. It's like they just don't quite have their finger on the button.
They could have. I mean, if they didn't want to do a baseball type of event, you could actually have a softball event, because they have the All-Star celebrity softball game. Yeah. You could put the kids and have them battle it out in a softball home run derby if you wanted to have that. So yeah, you could be onto something. That is very. That would be fun.
It's called thinking outside the box. Some people can do it, others can't, and I just don't know, man. I just like it, I'm glad that Vladdy's not in it, but it would have been cool to see him do something that wasn't just playing. Like I think, and I'm not saying it, I think the All-Star game is playing on Vladdy's mind a little bit. For the last 3-4 games, he hasn't quite. There's something. I'm not saying something's wrong, and I'm not saying that he's lost it, but he's been swinging at a lot of pitches that he normally doesn't swing at. He's been getting very, very annoyed when he's been getting out, like more so than normal.
Today was a good example. You see when he slammed the helmet in the bat.
Yeah, and it's not because of the calls, because he's been dealing with that all season.
Yeah.
So it can't be like balls being slightly off the plate and they're being called strikes or anything along them lines. So I just wonder whether like he's like maybe this week's the first week that it's dawned on him that he's really in the limelight now. That he's really that guy. Like youngest player to ever get most amount of votes in the voting. He's going to the All-Star game as a potential MVP. Maybe it's starting to catch up. He's still only 22 years old, man.
I think he would have been. I think he's used to it because remember he was selected to go to the Home Run Derby in 2019, and that was his quote unquote coming out party, or sorry, it was 2018, or I think it was 2018 or 2019.
No, it wasn't last year because there wasn't one. Yeah. It was the year before.
So that was his coming out party. I think everybody kind of knew just how powerful of a hitter he is. I think what we're seeing this particular week with Vladdy is he might just be tired. Remember, he's played every single game.
Yes,
and even DHing. He's still in there. He's still getting his 4 at-bats. He's still swinging. He's still running the bases. He's doing all those things.
And he's been overworked in the field as well, right? With some of the plays he's had to make just to save runs and stuff.
Yeah,
so
Bo and Kevin especially. I mean, we're not singling them out because they're still young. They're still learning, especially with Kevin playing a new position. But how many times have you seen Vladdy make a split, do splits, or to do something to save an error throw?
Compared to me, and I ain't doing the splits.
So all that is taking a toll on him. I think he's tired. He made the right choice not being in the home run derby because it might just exhaust
Would it have
him.
been better for him to not be playing at all? He's never going to turn that down, is he? But
no, he could just do the first 3 innings and then they could take him out.
Which is always what happens more or less anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, usually the starters go 3 to 5 innings and then they just
two at bats, 3 innings. That's the hope, isn't it?
Yeah, occasionally they'll. Depending on what they have at the position. So if the AL,
it's going to be Gurriel, isn't it? Probably.
I think Yuli has been performing well up to this point, so I think he would be one of them. And I wouldn't be surprised if Jose Abreu is selected as well.
It's just a case of how many Astros do they really want in there, considering all the bad press they've had.
I don't think that'll affect the commissioner. If the commissioner's a joke as far as I'm concerned, so he'll probably have Yuli, Jose Altuve, Carlos Correa. He'll probably Michael Brantley if he's healthy.
George Springer.
Yeah, he'll tell Springer to put on an Astros jersey just to rile people up.
Just quickly, what happened with George Springer in his last at bat today? Something was said, no? But by who?
Him and the umpire had a few choice words. I think was it
the umpire? I wasn't sure. I couldn't make out what happened.
Yeah, I guess he didn't like the called strike. I think it was a called strike that he got, or one of the strikes, and he just didn't like it. He kind of voiced his displeasure. And it's one of the few times I've seen George Springer, whether it be an Astro or a Jay, and I know it's been his sample size as a Jay has been very, very small. but I don't remember him actually being that demonstrative about a call. So
Jays were very frustrated today, weren't they?
they
In general, looked frustrated.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. It's just one of those games. You kind of it's one of those games where I think they're going to look back and say, we should have won this game, and they didn't.
How many times have we said that in the last 3 weeks, though?
That's true. They've I can't. This is the game where, other than bringing in Dolis, you can't put the entire blame on Montoya. I know it's kind of. You could argue that Santiago Esmal should have been playing third base today.
Doesn't make a difference in the scoreline, though. It's not like Kevin was at fault.
No, but there was talk at the pre-game.
Yeah, but then you could say that about Danny Jansen as well, right? Why take Reese out when Reese is batting well?
Yeah.
And then Danny Jansen comes in, first plate appearance, and he gets a hit. It's like
I predicted. I said he was going to go 1 for 2 today, and I figured he was going to come out swinging. And people forget, prior to the injury, he was actually
heating up. Yeah, that's right.
So I think and Charlie's been getting bashed quite often, especially from me. But today,
today is on the players. I just don't like Dolis. Dolis just isn't
the Dolis thing. We can question. Dolis one we can question. Like, why would you bring in Dolis, especially when he's cold?
Yeah,
you could have gone with Romano, unless there's something there that we don't know about. Maybe Jordan.
But we keep saying that every time he doesn't come out on the second day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are they saving him for? He looks like he's ready to pitch 2 or 3 innings.
He's ready to pitch. To me, he's the guy that he's ready to pitch every inning in every game. Like he's not afraid to say it.
And that's why it's slightly confusing. But today's on the players. It has to be. They didn't perform at the plate. They didn't perform in the field. I think we leave it at there. Tomorrow's an off day, and we go again Tuesday. Like it's not. Like my anger has gone now. Like I was angry earlier. I was like shouting and all sorts.
Ryan Yarbrough has the Jays number, and you know what? There's in baseball history, there's always one pitcher that a team cannot beat, and it's usually someone that you don't expect. And in this case, it looks like the Jays' kryptonite is Ryan Yarbrough.
Yeah, be glad to see the back of him. We end up with him again in the next series, probably.
Possibly. Yarbrough and Kikuchi from Seattle. Those are the 2 guys that the Jays had a lot of trouble with. And they're lefties, 2 different styles, 2 different velocities on their pitches, and different arsenal, and they had trouble.
You lot did a lot of grading today on Blue Jay Center.
Yeah. Okay. So when Steve contacted me, Steve said, "Hey, we're going to be doing this, this, and this," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." So, and Anne was supposed to be on the show, and obviously didn't feel like being on the show, but she was in the chat quite often,
digging you out.
Yeah, but again, take it where the criticism's coming from. It's coming from someone who couldn't answer a question correctly, so I'm not too worried. I think in all honesty, I think Anne had a prior commitment. So, but it was really geared because Anne likes to do grades, and to be quite honest, she's very accurate with her grades. She's really amazing.
She's lethal with her grades.
Yeah, like I don't know if I can be that mean. I mean, I can be mean to her, but I don't know if I can be mean overall. No, and I was actually looking forward to it because I really want to hear Anne's grades on the different categories. And then when she said she wasn't going to make it, so we were kind of like, okay. So I think that was one of the few shows where I've been with Luis.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think.
And he didn't say Yankees the whole day. I was
so wanted to tempt him. I so wanted to kind of say, and Garrett Cole from the Yankees, I was going to try and put something in there, but no, anytime I'm with any of those that group, it's always a fun group.
So I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like 80, I don't know how many games have we played?
82.
82. Right. Okay. So 82 games in. We won't do grades. We'll do 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. 82 games. Where do the Jays sit in regards to how I don't want to use the words how impressed are we or how it needs to be. For me, the Jays have to make the playoffs this year. That was my thinking at the start of the season. I still believe that now. So I guess what I'm asking, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely do we think it will be for the Jays to make the playoffs as it stands at the moment, 82 games in?
7. I think it's 7 or 8 because
you'll get splinters from sitting on the fence so much.
I'll say 7 because their pitching staff seemingly come together, and you're going to get 5+ innings from each starter. Robbie Ray went 7, Manoah went 7, so you do have that ability to go 6 or 7. You do have the ability to save your bullpen. It boils down to what they get in their bullpen and the type of arms they get. So I say a 7. I say confidently a 7 because Tampa, I don't see them. They're going to be struggling. The Yankees are close to selling. Now, what they sell is a different story. They're not going to sell Judge. No one's going to take Stanton's contract. Chapman is a possibility.
He's our guy. If he's available, I believe we go for him. He won't come to us.
No. Rob made a good point. If Chapman was available, will this front office make a trade for Chapman given the Roberto Osuna situation? So if it's not going to be Chapman, I made a comment that it should be that.
As long as they ain't beat up no Canadian people, it's all right, isn't it?
That's fine by me. But Zach Britton would be a guy that would look at. Another lefty, very good sinker. I know people will talk about the Edwin Encarnacion home run and all this stuff, and Zach Britton should have been in the game, and that's neither here or there. That's the past. Zach Britton, though, would be a nice lefty to have, and he could close games. People fail to realize that. He was a closer for Baltimore. He was a very, very good closer.
He was, yeah. So where is he at the moment?
He's got a hamstring pull, but he's ready. It's a tweak, but he looks like he's ready to come back in the next couple of days.
Right, okay.
So I feel that Boston, I don't know if Chris Sale is enough to save the Red Sox. The Red Sox, I think, will make the playoffs.
But how are they still so far ahead when their rotation has been whack? I don't know.
I mean, Devers, Bogarts, Martinez, those 3 are carrying that offense. And then you get the timely hits from everyone else. You could say that you could put their best 3 hitters versus the Jays' best 3 hitters. And that would be Marcus, Bo, and Vladdy. With all due respect to Teoscar, you could take Bo. How would you include Teoscar in those 3 versus Devers? Okay, fine. The top 4, Alex Verdugo, down to Martinez versus the Jays' top 4. It's comparable. It's very comparable.
I take ours. I'm slightly biased, but I take ours.
I would take ours, but defensively, even though Rafael Devers has problems at third, Bogarts is a very, very good shortstop. He's a better defensive shortstop than Bo, even though maybe the metrics may say otherwise. But if you look at the eye test, he's better. JD and Teoscar kind of cancel each other out because their defense is a little sketchy. So they've and Alex Cora is making the right moves at the right time. We can criticize him for his involvement with the Houston Astros scandal, but Alex Cora has made the right moves at the right time. So that's the difference. They're managing. That's what I learned first. Take a look at Kevin Cash. He has no star power on his team. And
man, I would love to see him manage us. When you were asked a question on Blue Jay Center today about who would you like to see on the staff, and you were all giving players' names, and in the chat I wrote Kevin Cash.
Yep, I saw that, but I can't see Kevin Cash leaving Tampa.
No, he wouldn't, but I would love to see him manage us. Like it would very, very different to anything we've ever had.
Mm-hmm. He actually fits in with the analytical side of the front office, probably more so than Charlie. So he could be somebody there. Tito Francona might be a name. Definitely won't be Cito or Gibby or Buck or any of these guys.
At one point, obviously, we know that he's made the headlines for the wrong reason, Roberto Alomar. But at one point, I actually thought before this scandal hit that if Charlie kind of fails, it will be someone like him that comes in.
Yeah, before the scandal, Robbie would have been my choice to be on the bench as a bench coach or as a fielding coach or something.
Help the kids.
But with the scandal, right now,
well, they've severed ties, haven't they? So
they've severed ties. Jays have severed ties. MLB severed ties for the moment, for the time being. Now, in light of the Trevor Bauer scandal that's happening, my question is, how can you displace Roberto Alomar when you've given a 7-day leave of absence for Trevor Bauer? And his sounds even far more.
I read, I don't want to talk about it on here, but I read enough to make my own assumptions.
Me too. I don't want to say. I mean, what I read. If Trevor Bauer was in front of me, I'd probably knock him down. And I'll
he's a big guy, though, right?
Yeah, that's fine. But hey, man, I'll take my chances. But as far as you don't do what is reported in that. You don't do any of that stuff. But we'll leave it at that. But I figured Russell Martin. Russell being I don't even know if Russell's retired. I don't know if he officially retired. He hasn't played. He didn't play 2020. He's closer to the younger players than Robbie is in terms of age and in terms of playing career. And he's also very fiery. He doesn't take losing very well. And I think we would see that on his face. And we would see him probably jump in front of an umpire.
And he also understands how the playoffs work. Yeah.
And I think there's also a component that it probably would work with Robbie if Robbie didn't have the issues that he has. But Russell Martin would understand the importance of success in Toronto with the Toronto Blue Jays. And that would probably play a factor into how he would manage. He would manage to win. I'm not saying Charlie doesn't manage to win, but I think Russell would do it in a manner that is a little bit different.
He understands what the fans want, whereas Charlie's maybe slightly disconnected from that because he doesn't know Toronto really.
I think Charlie goes by the book, and I think Russell will go by the pulse of the game.
When did Charlie come? When did Charlie start? It was last year, right? Year before.
It was 2018 or 2019. I think Charlie started. Because Gibby was here in 2017. I think Gibby was here in 2018. I think 2018 was Gibby's last year.
So 19. Yeah. So technically, he's only really been in Toronto for one season.
Yeah.
That we were pretty bad in.
And then if you take a look at the following season, They made the playoffs because it was an abbreviated season.
Sure, yeah, and extra teams.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting to see when we start talking about that. You start dissecting things like that. It's take the Raptors win.
Mhm.
Take their NBA title win. You saw what happened with the people of Canada, not just Toronto. Like the people of Canada, there's nothing better than getting one up on the Americans, right? Like to make a nation come together as one. Sporting occasions have a habit of doing that. England are going through it at the moment with the football.
Yeah.
So like we're on the verge, and I think that we could probably we could well get to the final.
Mm-hmm.
We could win it, but we won't talk about that today because it's the wrong show. But when you watch these teams and you watch how Toronto does, look, I remember seeing it in the 90s with the World Series wins.
Yeah.
Like I've never seen anything like that. The way that it just becomes one whole thing.
The one thing in Toronto.
God, I was
just
say
the one. You go ahead.
Let me finish, and then you can go. But like the one thing that gets me is that if you've got someone now, I don't know, apart from like Molitor's, is he still managing? Paul Molitor? No, he's got it. But I'm not saying that we would bring him in, but I think someone that understands what it's like to be in Toronto with a winning team. I'm not saying that we go and get Nick Nurse to manage the Jays. That's not where I'm going. But someone that understands that winning mentality for the country. It's not for the city. It's for the country. Could be the difference between. And I think when you say with Russell Martin, he understands it because he was in the playoffs. He saw what the hype was like. He was there when Bautista did the bat flip. Like. He gets it. Like I was jumping up and I'm here. It's 3-4 o'clock in the morning. I was going nuts when that was happening. Like, so I think that's key. I think it's key.
It is key to get someone. And I don't know if Charlie fully grasps the role he's in. Cito got it. Cito understood it. Gibby understood it. And they were the ones who had the most success. They understand how important it is to the city and by extension the country. Russell will get it. Russell understands it. He would know what it means. If Charlie doesn't make the playoffs, and I can't see him not making the playoffs this year, despite how bad the bullpen has been. But he does have people coming back, Merriweather or Ricky. I'm pretty sure the front office will make a deal. He's going to have quality arms, and if he doesn't make the playoffs, or they make the playoffs and get demolished like they did last year against Tampa, 2 straight out, I can't see Charlie managing the team next year. I could see them going in a different direction. The team does need a little bit more fire in the clubhouse, I think, and on the bench. Because if we take a look at how it is, and you see how it's presented, the guys are always having fun. They're always dancing. They're always doing this.
Maybe it's a bit too much, right?
When you lose a game in certain ways, you should have a little bit of fire the next day to win that game. And the Jays have won games where they've lost ridiculously.
Yeah, but we've also gone through series that we've lost, and we've lost back-to-back games where we've had no fight, which is interesting because not a lot of people, but I've seen it recently over the last 3-4 days. People have mentioned Josh Donaldson.
Yeah. Josh. If he's on your,
I don't think we bring him back for his bat.
You bring him back because he's got a certain winner. He's got a character. If he's on your team, you love him. If he's on the opposite team, you hate him. and you hit him with a passion. But he's the type of player that you need.
Would you try and pull the double
and get JD?
And
Jose Barrios? I don't know if I'll be able to trade. I don't know if I can stomach trading 4 prospects to get those 2. Even if Minnesota is giving back money over JD's contract, I don't know if I'll be able to do that. We've seen where certain deals have come back to haunt the Jays a little bit, and prospects do. I mean, they're prospects for a reason. They are a currency in Major League Baseball. If you've got good ones, you can get what you need. Atkins and Shapiro have done a very good job of stockpiling quality. But is JD and who's to say next year he doesn't fall off a cliff and gives you a 161 batting average? That's the risk you're taking because of his age.
Yeah, but I'm only looking at because I don't know how many years has he got left
after this year too, because it's a 4-year deal I think he signed.
Okay, so
and that's a big contract.
It's a lot to write off, but it's probably not as big as Tulo's that we wrote off.
If they decide to write it off, it won't be as big as Tulo's.
No, and
is the organization,
because we're talking now, aren't we? This is the thing. We need that one. I think we need that one piece. It's one person who comes into that team. Springer's got it, but Springer's already one of the boys.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I actually didn't expect to happen. But he has, and it's good that he's happened because it means that he's gelled and they all love him and he loves them, and that's all good. But who's that Bautista in there going, F are you doing? Like who's in there that's giving it? Maybe not so much Bautista with the attitude, but you need someone in there to pull them together, and you lot need to stop clowning around. We need to win this game.
I don't know character. I mean, they all have very good character. Every player on that team has a very high character, so that's the reason why they can gel so quickly. And we do see it. We see all of them kind of mingling with one another. They have very good character. Is there someone who could turn the switch and say, okay, you know what, enough fooling around, we got to win? There was no reason why they should have lost the series in Seattle. I don't want to say killer instinct, but if you're facing a team that's struggling or facing a team that you should beat them. Knowing
how to win when you're not playing well. And Tampa Bay do that very well, don't they?
Yeah.
Did it today.
They do.
Did it today.
Yeah, exactly. Now, is that a manager thing to kind of get the group together and say, okay, enough is enough. Let's kind of do this correctly and win. We have an opportunity to sweep. Let's make a statement. When Alex Anthopoulos made his moves prior to 2015, he specifically went after Donaldson, Russell Martin, because he wanted to change the culture of the Toronto Blue Jays dugout. He felt that maybe they didn't have enough fire in them, and that's with Jose Bautista. So, and we saw the success of the Toronto Blue Jays during that time. Is there somebody there that can kind of step in and kind of rally the troops and say, okay, enough screwing around. We have a series against Baltimore starting Tuesday. We have to win all 3. That's it. Case closed. Now, we've seen Strickland bark at panic, so maybe it's Ross Strickland.
Yeah, but the thing is, my issue with that is that maybe it is Stripling, but he only pitches once every 5 days.
Yeah.
It's got to be someone that's in there. It's got to be either a first baseman
or a third baseman.
I can't see it being anyone else. You don't move anyone else.
And then okay. If you had someone like Yadier Molina, who is fiery, behind the plate, who has been behind the plate, who has been to the playoffs, who knows what it's like to win. I'm not saying it's Yadier specifically, but someone like him. That dynamic changes. The entire attitude changes. You can still have your fun because Yadier's a guy who has fun.
And he's seeing the whole field as well. He's seeing every single thing that's going on, right?
Yeah. So I mean, it's not going to be Yadier because I don't think they're going to trade. I don't think St. Louis is going to trade him. I think they'll have a revolt in St. Louis if they ever thought about trading him. But they do need a piece in there that can, okay, enough fooling around, no more dancing. You have an opportunity to do something. Do something. It was a complaint that was made against the Yankees. It was a parody. And someone came out and said, we don't want to be Mr. Nice Guys. We're the effing New York Yankees. But there is some truth to it. Once the game starts, your job is to win. And you can still have fun on the field. You can still talk to the other players, but your goal is to win. And maybe a little bit of fire would help. Maybe.
Who'd you go for? Obviously, my first instinct was maybe Donaldson is the person. Maybe Charlie shouldn't be the manager. Maybe he just doesn't have enough to start shouting in the locker room. But we'll move from Charlie because I think that's a different argument altogether. But if it's a player, I think I go for someone like Donaldson. I really do.
Mm-hmm. He's still productive. This is a question of what are you going to give up for him, and how much does he have left in the tank, right? And it doesn't have to be a star player. It could just be a guy who goes out there, plays the game the right way, plays with
sleeve, that kind of thing.
The closest person we have actually on the Jays, if you talk about having a heart on the sleeve and getting the most out of their ability, is Kevin Biggio. But he's not the guy that
he comes across like he's really quiet though.
Exactly. So who's out there that you can get? Who's playing on a team that is Colin Moran a vocal player? I mean, he does play hard. He has a heart. He gets the most out of his abilities. Maybe he's that guy. As far as out of Cincinnati, you see that guy. Joey Votto would be amazing, but he's got a 10-5 veto deal. He's not going anywhere.
Not happening, is it?
So they're in a good position to kind of tinker because they are a couple games over 500. They're in the thick of the wild card chase. This entire month will be kind of interesting to see who they get.
Do you know the one player that's actually, obviously we're talking about temperament and being vocal. The one guy that's actually that seems to have it, and I'd love to see it more often, is Alek Manoah. Like he does not have a problem. Like when he got thrown out, he gave it. He gave it as He gave it as good as we've seen this year from anyone. And when he's on the field and stuff, like you can see that fire, very Marcus Stroman-esque.
You can see that intensity, and he's a kid. He's a young kid, and he's got that intensity.
Just come up.
And what was shocking was he's giving it back to the umpire, and Charlie isn't saying a word.
No, and that's what bothers me.
So maybe it's Alek Manoah. Maybe Alek is the guy who ends up being the leader of this team.
The vocalist.
Yeah, the vocal leader. Yeah. We've seen Vladdy get angry.
But he does it within himself, though.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He's not really.
He's very controlled. He's very controlled how he does it, and sometimes it's better to like let it out. Everyone else feeds off it.
And we're talking about having someone with a little bit of fire, a little bit of sandpaper. That's what we're actually talking about. We want someone with a little bit of sandpaper in them. Amir Garrett is a guy who doesn't take anything from anybody. I mean, this is a man who ran towards the Pittsburgh Pirates dugout and wanted to beat up everybody in the Pirates. I'm not saying. I'm not saying we need to have a brawl every other game, but something like that, like a little bit of that feistiness, right?
Okay, so go back to what the original point was. Like,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, we were talking about where do we think, like you said, around about the 7, but taking that, like after dissecting everything, what I think the conclusion that we come to is that they're just missing that little bit of fire. And if you add that fire,
Mm-hmm.
light a match, so to say, and throw it in, who knows what we'll see. I just feel that it all seems a little bit too relaxed. And if we can get one piece in there that does, I'm not like, what do you think bringing someone like Josh Donaldson would do to the clubhouse? Like, do they all think, bloody hell?
They might take a step back. They might be a little intimidated because Josh is a very open person. He's not afraid to voice his opinion. He's not afraid to tell someone off.
Not a bad thing either, though, is it?
It's not a bad thing either. But it could rub people the wrong way as well. I know Liam Hendricks. There was a report that Liam Hendricks had
doesn't like him.
Yeah, doesn't like him. But he also said that as a teammate, you want him on your team. Take a look at the best example I can give you is, and we talked about pitchers performing, once every 5 days. But take a look at the Jays in 1991 versus the Jays in 92 versus the Jays in 93. And in 91, Dave Steve went down. He was super intense. But the Jays they had Todd Stottlemyre, who was intense, but it's when they got Jack Morris. And they got someone like Dave Winfield to come in. And older players, Jack Morris he was incredibly intense. And he knew what to say, what not to say. And then you had Dave Winfield, who was not outwardly intense, but he was a person that led by example. So maybe an elder statesman like a Dave Winfield or a Jack Morris. And then you take a look at 93, they went and got Dave Stewart.
So that goes back to a Scherzer then, possibly.
Scherzer would be very, very amazing to have. It's just, when does he want to come to Toronto? Would he be open to trade to Toronto? And number 2, what are you prepared to give up? We can throw names out there. We can throw names for everybody else. The question is, what are you prepared? What is the Jays prepared to give up? So it's that balancing act.
We touched on this on Thursday, and we said that. Well, sorry, not we, but you guys were saying that you don't give up Austin Martin. We definitely don't give up Moreno. Or is that a possible?
If the trade if it takes Moreno and another prospect to get Berrios,
but not Groshans. We wouldn't do Moreno and Groshans, surely.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, and every time we talk about these shows and people who watch these shows, they think that we probably hate Jordan Groshans and Adam Klopfenstein. We don't hate them. We think they're very talented. I think they're very talented.
But there's just no place for them.
It's very hard to fit them in, especially when you have, your prospect pool is so deep. Those are the 2 names that you could probably get something for.
Am I right in thinking the longer they stay in the minors, the less value they end up having? Is that how it works?
No. Depending, and it depends on what goes on this year. There was a comment that either Groshans or Kevin Smith, I believe his name is, might get called up as a showcase, and then they'll trade him, which is not out of the realm of possibility.
What, now?
Mm-hmm. Well, sometime in the next week or so, just to showcase them. And hopefully if they play well, then that increases their trade value.
Can Groshans play third base?
Yep. Now, are you thinking maybe Groshans playing third base?
But my point would be, you call them up, they play well, then what do you do?
Well, then you're in the driver's seat. As the Jays, you would be in the driver's seat. Now, do you keep Groshans and put him at third and keep him at third, or do you?
Well, the point would be, we need a third baseman.
You also need a starter.
Okay, but what's harder to find, a starter or a third baseman?
It's harder to find a starter, so you would have to flip the third baseman. Because remember, you could survive with Biagio and Escobar. That is true.
I still have no problem with Espinal playing third. I said that the other day.
But do you want him playing every day?
I don't see why not. Every time he's playing okay. So
now
he's not a 5-star plus player.
No,
but he's a 4. He's a 4.
He could be one of those little. He could be like a David Fletcher type out of Anaheim, where he can do all these little things that David Fletcher does and performs very well. He could be that type of player. We could have someone like that in him. But the thing about right now with Espinal is he's not playing every day. He's playing every third day, I think. Will he be overmatched by playing too much? That's the risk.
He has no power.
Well, we can't say that. He did hit a home run.
Yeah, I know, but he doesn't have sustained power, does he? My point, like if you split it down into 3 sections, you've got power, defense, speed. Defensively, we probably don't find anyone better than him. Speed-wise, he's good. So it's just really the power and the offense. But he's hitting 300.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He could end up being.
What do you want from the guy?
He could end up being your David Fletcher. He could end up being that guy where he hits 300 or 290 and he ignites an offense from the bottom of the lineup. He could be that guy. Maybe we don't have to look for a third baseman. Maybe we have one here. But the thing is, again, with Santiago Espinal, and I'm not taking anything with. I want him to be very successful, and I love the kid. If you're going to ride him, should have started today. He was facing a lefty.
Yeah, but so should Maguire have started today.
Lefty versus lefty. So I can understand Charlie's opinion of, okay, maybe I don't want to start a lefty hitter versus a lefty pitcher. So Danny's here, there you go. But now between the two catchers, Reese McGuire has proven that he's a better hitter. I think he might be the better overall player right now. And that's only because Danny started so slow. But having those two and having Kirk in the wings, that's pretty good. It's a pretty good problem to have.
Yeah, I told you before. I said to you before, because 1 to 8. Okay, let's forget what happened today. But all week, 1 to 8 has been pretty strong. In fact, 1 to 9 has been strong because Maguire's been the one that's been batting most of the time, and our offense looks so potent at times. You look at it and you think, this is what we wanted, and we got the results that we expected to get. I don't know. Like it's
with Santiago Espinal, what I would do. Let's just say the Jays can't get anywhere. Let's say the price tag is too high to get a third baseman, and you're platooning Biggio and Espinal. What I probably would do is
do you package him?
Espinal?
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying he's untouchable, but to have a kid that talented, and I think he's 26, so he's not super young, but still very good. To do the things he can do, no. There's, and I keep on coming up with the name David Fletcher because that's who he kind of reminds me of offensively with more speed. I think if you can't get a third baseman, you're going to ride Biggio and Espinal. Slowly, maybe in August, start giving Espinal more reps against right-handed pitching, right-handed starters, to see what he can do. And if he continues to hit well, and he continues to play well overall, then maybe he's your 9th hitter. Maybe that's the second leadoff man you've been looking for. It's right there.
Especially if Maguire's doing what he's doing, you've got no problem with him hitting 8th.
I would put Espinal 9th and put Maguire 8th.
That's what I mean. Like if you've got that, like Gurriel 7th. Yeah. Maguire 8th, Espinal 9th. for me that works. The only person that constantly misses out is Biggio, but like he's good. Having Biggio on the bench is good, but I just, like I said it the other day, I don't see him coming off the bench and being a game changer. And that's the only thing that's the only thing that bothers me. We don't have anyone.
Yeah, his bat is inconsistent. He can walk. He can draw a lot of pitches. But he's not like, if you Rowdy Tellez, you always think that Rowdy could hit a home run. With Kevin, he might draw a walk. Yeah, he could draw a walk. But Kevin's versatility helps. So having a bat like him on the bench helps. Santiago Espinal's versatility. I mean, we talked about it earlier, but versatility. Having this year's Jonathan VR would have been nice, not the one from last year.
It's like he didn't want to be there, though, isn't it? I don't have any other.
I guess he wasn't. Maybe he wasn't thrilled with the fact he was coming off the bench because he was playing well. He was playing well until he came to Toronto, or maybe he just didn't dig the Montoya playbook because he's performing.
He's not the only one.
Yeah, he's performing well with the Mets. VR, Kevin Pillar is performing well.
Billy McKinney.
All these guys have been performing well when they beat Toronto. Billy McKinney, I'm happy for. There's a sandpaper type player. Kevin Pillar, sandpaper type player.
Pilar, I loved Kevin Pilar. Like for what he did, he was never
the star.
Good enough with the bat to be the star. But like for the stuff he did in the outfield, whether he was in the wrong position to start with or whatever, who cares? For me, heart on the sleeve.
Yeah.
What you see is what you get with him. Billy McKinney was one because we got him from the Yankees. It was the Yankees that we got him from, right? And he, like, I remember when he came in and because he played various positions, didn't he? He played like third. He played the outfield.
He played outfield and he played first. And
first,
I
thought he played third for some reason. I don't know
why. And I thought this guy has a bit of a moxie to him. Like he had that heart in the sleeve impression he gave me, and I thought, could be a nice little find. Like you're not going to get superstar numbers out of him, but you can't always have a superstar at every position. You do need those grinders, and I thought he would be kind of like that type of guy. I look at him.
Really worked, did it?
I looked at him and I honestly thought Reed Johnson. That's what I thought. That's who reminded me of, like a left-handed Reed Johnson. Reed Johnson was a player who played with his heart on the sleeve. Did he put up 25 stolen bases a season? No, but you knew you were getting. He was going to give you everything he got every single day, and you need that the term blood and guts. You need a player who has a little bit of blood and guts in him, who's not afraid to bleed.
When we were talking the other day, was it you that said we should go after Noah Syndergaard?
No,
I can't remember. Somebody said that.
It could have been.
Cole,
it was Robin Cole that was with us. I know Rob. I mean, we were talking about trades and Noah Syndergaard. I think it was Rob that mentioned Noah Syndergaard as a free agent, possible free agent that you probably target.
He's had injury problems though, hasn't he?
And I think what people, I know people bring up Syndergaard's name in that Dickey trade and saying that was one of the worst trades we ever made. But you have to remember, Syndergaard was in that conversation, but you also had Stroman, Sanchez, Daniel Norris, Matt Boyd, and Syndergaard at the time was either viewed as a potential power arm out of the bullpen, not so much as a starter. And
Dickey was a Cy Young winner. Like we couldn't when Dickey came, I remember the trade breaking, and I was like, wow, like they've really gone for it, and we expected to get that pitcher. It didn't work out that way, obviously. He was okay a handful of times.
You got to remember he was pitching in New York, so City Field, I think it's called. It's a huge field. So yeah, it helped him. I was never confident that a knuckleballer would survive in the Rogers Center and in the smaller ballparks in the AL East. And I kind of speculated, and I had told a couple of my friends at the time when the trade went through, I said, he's not going to win 20 games for us. He may win 15.
I think he won 12 or something, didn't he?
Yeah, he won like 14. So he was close. He was close. But he said he's not going to win 20, and he's not going to have an ERA under 3. He's going to have an ERA under 4. But if you think he's going to come in and get, that guy that won Cy Young, he's not going to be that guy. But he's going to be good. But our expectations of him, don't look at him as the MVP or the Cy Young winner. Look at him as a good arm in the bullpen, as a good arm in starting rotation. Him and Mark Burley were good. They were at the top of the rotation. They were both good.
I loved Mark Burley.
Mark Burley was in out.
Just a pro. Just a pro.
Mm-hmm. And I was surprised that he had retired. I wish he had stuck around for another year. I think that would have changed 2017. I think that would have changed 2017.
Mate, we could go on forever, but I need to get some sleep at some point.
At this point, I'm not even working tomorrow. So
I have to ask one question. What have you got on the TV in the background? I've heard singing and all sorts.
I've got Boston versus Oakland, top of the ninth. Boston is leading by 1. The singing you heard was commercial.
Oh, was that what it was?
Yeah,
I can kind of see it over your right shoulder.
Yeah,
reflection on the picture, and I heard singing or something, and I was like, "What the hell is that?"
So where I'm situated right now, I'm like literally in the corner. This is actually kind of like my work office. So I wanted to make sure if I'm home working that, especially during baseball season, that I get to watch the baseball games while I'm working. And so I got everything kind of going here. So
yeah, I have the ability. Like obviously, I'm at my workstation where I've got all my music stuff, but I have like the TV's just there in the corner. I can still work and do what's needed. It's essential. It's essential.
I love working at home. I would love to do it more often than I do. So especially during the winter, I don't want to go out in the winter. I'd rather just stay inside.
No, not over there. All of that traveling and I've come over a couple of times in the winter when I've been working out there. Don't tell the tax man. And I've come and I've had to, obviously I stay at my cousin's, but I have to get up in the morning with him when he goes to work, and we'll get the GO train into town and
Yeah, and the GO train if the GO train falters, or if there's
it's just way too cold to be doing that kind of nonsense. Like, I don't like the cold weather. It gets cold here, I can deal with it. Cold in Canada
is a different cold.
Hats, gloves, coat, second coat, third coat.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously you walk in somewhere, they got the heating on, and then you're dying because it's so hot. But
it is. It's the last few winters haven't been as bad, but when it snows, and then you'll have like a stretch where like 15 degrees Celsius outside during the winter. Kind of like, well, this is definitely global warming and climate change here. So, and then the following week you get another snowfall, and you're kind of like, yeah, that's what it is.
Well, as always, Sheldon, it has been a pleasure. You're obviously you'll be back on Blue Jay Center. Oh dear, I definitely have to cut that bit out. You'll be back on Blue Jay Center this week. Do you know what days you're on?
Right now, softball season has started for me, so I'm just going to be doing the weekends for the time being. If my games are done early and I can catch the tail end of a Blue Jay game, and I can probably pop in. I will be in the chat from time to time, basically portraying whoever's there, just because I want to. But most of the time, I am actually kind of in the chat itself, answering questions. Because they're
telling people to go to sleep.
Yeah, that's mostly you, and telling Anne that she's wrong, which 99% of the time she is. She just has to admit to it. and making fun of Bree and Scott because they don't want to trade me players in our fantasy pool. So, but no, the viewers and that are in the chat have a lot of great questions. So sometimes we can't get to all of them. So I try and get to them in the chat as much as I can. So
I just type in there just to put everyone off.
I was just like, I'm looking at it going, okay, what are you talking about? No. And I love how Anne was in there as well. She was actually asking a question, what starter should we get? And I'm like, everybody wants to point at Scherzer and Berrios. Is it what's it going to cost to get those guys? That's what it boils down to. And of course, Lewis said his thing. I said he was wrong, and said I was wrong. I told Anne she was wrong. So if you ever listen to the Blue Jays Center, I'm somewhere in there. It's usually goes haywire.
Funny. I always, as you just mentioned the pictures, was like I go through all these names and we'll end up with someone like Aaron Loop.
It'll be someone that you don't expect. Did anybody think Adam Simber will be the guy that we would have gotten?
No,
probably.
No, exactly.
So
we will see. Well, look, I'm going away next weekend, but I'm going to attempt to do one. Obviously, I won't be in my lovely surroundings as I normally am, but I'm going somewhere that's meant to be pretty cool. I won't say what it is yet, but I'm hoping to record from there, depending on what the Wi-Fi is like. So obviously we'll be in touch. And hopefully we'll do our normal Thursday. I don't know what your plans are on Thursday, but hopefully
Thursday at the moment I'm not. I'll let you know. What's going on Thursday.
So as always, don't forget, make sure you like, subscribe, follow over on YouTube. If you consume your podcast on Apple Music, Spotify, all them places, make sure you go over to Instagram and follow Sheldon and Blue Jay Center. And we will see you again very, very soon for another edition of Jay's Talk with Jay.